Hey, what's going on? What's going on? It is another Tuesday. It is another conversation that I'm looking forward to. Welcome to Conversations with Kev. Different name as I stated uh, on conversation number 33, but same host. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. Definitely looking forward to my guests that are going to be on. So definitely, whatever you got to do, get your drink in your hand, get your popcorn, because we're going to be talking about fatherhood. We're going to be talking about June is Men's Mental Health Month. So staying on the topic of mental health, because anybody who knows me knows that mental health is a passion of mine, and I'm an advocate for it. So I'm definitely looking forward to this conversation with my guests. But um, I'm definitely looking forward to it. One of my guests could not be here tonight due to being under the weather. So, Terrence, if you're watching, or if you get to watch this later on, definitely, brother, I hope you feel better. But without further ado, I am going to bring my two brothers to the conversation. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then we're going to go from there. So, I'm gonna have TC introduce himself, tell us a little bit about him, and then I'm gonna have my brother Demario introduce himself. All right, take it away.
Family, hey man, I'm so grateful for all for the opportunity to come on here and talk to the people. I think this is an important topic, especially in men's mental health, and then having these brothers on. So thank you, man. Like you said, my name is Terrence Carr. I am in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm actually a campus pastor. I'm a pastor here at the Word Church here. So I pour into people daily. It's a full-time job. So it's interesting to talk about fatherhood. I've been seeing the dynamic. We're even pouring into adults now, fathering and having to really mentor a lot of adults. So I'm really excited about this conversation, and even seeing how fatherhood it affects adults now, and especially in the city of Cleveland and East Cleveland, where a lot of people don't have fathers, and the impact I see in the teens. I was actually the youth director here at the Word Church for the last 4 years as well. So seeing the teens here that don't have father figures and them and everything is something that I definitely want to get into tonight. So I can't wait. I'm excited. Thank you for this, Kevin, for the invitation, and let's get to it.
Demario.
So I like his energy. I don't have that full energy like that, but but yeah, as my brother Kevin said, my name is Demario Harris. I am born and raised out of Las Vegas, Nevada, but currently here in this great city of Dallas, Texas, where I do not plan on moving back. Um, I am a agent with New York Life, so I basically help families and business owners protect to their assets. But as Brother TC said, grateful for this opportunity to be here and, just talk and have a good old time with my fellows.
Okay, okay. All right. Um, so let's start. So the word that I always think about is um, when I think about talking about fathers is fatherhood. So I want to begin by you all just talking about you all being fathers and what that means to you. What does fatherhood mean to both of you all?
Mm, I can jump in because we stay in the same order for now. I have 4 kids, so to introduce why he asked me on this call, I said we didn't stop at the 1 and 2 like I wanted to. We have 4, and I said no more. So these 4 kids, what does that look like for me? It is interesting. My ages for my kids are 9, 7, 4, and 2. So they're on a younger age. I don't have any teenagers or anything. I haven't experienced that yet. I heard it gets harder when you get to those ages, and I'm praying that's not true because my kids all have my energy. And one thing I've noticed is, of course, for my wife, sometimes it's hard for her to handle because, like, dang, it's 4 kids with this dude's energy. How do I handle that? And for me as a father, I think one of the main things for me as a father is saying what my kids' life expectancy of it, what it's going to look like, how to shape that for them, and giving them the keys to success, and my wife on how we can rear them up for the vision that God gave me. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gonna bring God into this. I told you I was a pastor, so so it's like I know for sure that God has a vision for each every single one of their lives. For me as a father, it's making sure that it comes to fruition, that they see that completeness of who they are. And it's helping my wife even through that and guiding her in how we're going to do this. So me as a father is just making sure that the vision for their lives is clear and that we know the way that we're going to get there for them. So I think it's so important for their kids' lives, for fathers to really do that. So that's kind of what my life looks like, man. I'm setting vision, family's vision for my kids, and then setting that plan for them, and then showing up to everything for them. They are my priority. As busy as we are, and as much as I give to other people, I told my wife I never want to be that guy that gives out to other people, but then my kids are at home like we don't even never see him or be that guy. So that's kind of how what fatherhood looks like for me right now, and what I feel like the responsibility and the weight is.
Lovely. So what fatherhood means to me, it's a variety of different things because I didn't have my father there growing up, but of course he wasn't there, so I didn't really have him. I had male role models, so it's somewhat of a learning moment, and me teaching my boys, how to do certain things, of course, being that provider for them, their teacher. I had 4 role models that I looked up to, which consisted of my grandfather, my 2 uncles, and my cousin. So I know without them, I probably would be a different person. But those moments that I didn't have my actual father there teach me what not to do for my boys and how to react in, where they know that dad, no matter what, he's going to be there for us. Just kind of helping them out and whatever they need, being able to teach them, showing them how to do certain things, whether it's changing a tire, how to, be, stuff like that. So it definitely is a lot. It's still a learning moment for me, with my oldest being soon to be a teenager, 13, with a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. So I have a while of, schooling and sports as they grow up, with the young one still 15 years of schooling left.
Okay. So one of you all said it, but the word impact, what does that mean to you, to have an impact on not only this is gonna be a 2-part. The impact that your father, if he was in your life, had on you, and the impact that you have, that you feel like is important to have on your kids.
The impact that my father had on me, of course, was great. My father is actually a pastor as well, so it's like his influence was great in my life. He was very present, military. I come from that 2-parent household, kind of reared in church and all that. I was blessed in that sense. I won't ever lie on that. I know what God did give me. So I did have, I believe, one of the best fathers that pushed me, very smart. But then sometimes I also felt like, and this is probably why I'm so like this with my kids, I do feel like sometimes his presence wasn't there as much because he was building the church so much. He was always in. Now, he was always at every recital. He would slide in stuff. but it was something about impact in the home that you didn't feel as much, because I know you're studying, you're in your study hall, I'm here at home. How are you teaching me how to cut my shave? Are you teaching me? And those are the things that even how to change a tire. I think I learned a lot of that stuff on my own or on YouTube or from somebody else, because he was so busy doing those things. To so far, he thought that's what his focus should be right now. And then that my mom would do some things, but there's some things that only your father can give you, bro. Like it's something that only another man can really teach you. So I miss some of that other side, the impact he had on my life with literally, you see what I'm doing now, like I said, as a pastor, how he reared me up. So that's why I'm so with my kids, is like I have a vision, I know what God called you to be, and I want to pour that into you. And same thing with my kids. The whole word impact, when you literally say impact, you think of anything of a collision, it's like, oh, what was the impact of the car on the other car? You see the damage or the imprint of something. You should be able to see an imprint if you're truly having change. It should be like, oh, that must be TC's son. Like you're gonna see it. So the impact of a father is, I think sometimes I don't want to say replication because I don't like everybody's individuals, but you're gonna know that's your DNA. So with my kids, the impact that I know I have is not only do you know that they have my DNA, but I'm rearing them in a way that there's going to be purpose in their life. Now they can choose once they get to a certain age, they're going to choose or whatever. But right now, the impact that I have to have is just really shaping and guiding them in their aspects of life. So yeah, that's what I think, man. Y'all, let me know Mario what you think, because that's actually a hard question. I feel like the answer for me.
Yeah, like what was it? What impact did your father
Is it
have growing up?
better? Yeah, what impact are you having on your kids? What does that look like for you?
So I know I'm on the opposite, where
Mm,
I didn't have my dad. So um, you know, it could have been one of those statistics, as they say, for black males, being in jail, being this, that, and the third, or dead, but I didn't go that route by not having that father figure in my life. Um, my mother, she raised pretty much five boys on her own. Um,
sheesh.
of course, me being the oldest, I have, my little brothers look up to me, but I know I was truly blessed to have who I had, which, like I mentioned, was my grandfather, his two younger boys, and my cousin. Um, I still have two that are here. My grandfather did pass away February 1st, 2018. And my cousin, he currently right now is in prison for something that still to this day, it's a shock to the family because we know the type of person he is and how much of an impact he contributed to the city of Las Vegas. But I know they taught me a lot, like even my uncle, I modeled a lot of favorite things from him as far as favorite superhero, favorite color. Growing up with him being a Sigma man, which is part of the reason why I wanted to do, why I joined that great fraternity. So just kind of having those positive role models taught me a lot to where I can pass that down to my sons. Um,
Mm,
just always being there because every time I think about it, the things that I missed from my dad, sitting there waiting for him to come pick me up to take me out and never came. Like I think about that, like this is what I'm not going to do with my boys. Like if they want something, of course I'm gonna figure something out. My oldest son, he plays baseball. That ain't cheap. So I want to find ways to where I don't want to let him down because I don't want to be, have those thoughts like, dad couldn't do it, but at the same time, life be life because things happen. But
mm,
as I know that me not having my father, those things that didn't happen, I know what not to do with my boys and teach them, things of life, especially being an African American male in this world.
Okay. Um, so there was a couple of things, a couple of words that I heard. I try to pull out stuff that I hear. One of the things I heard was DNA. And I'll say this, one of the things that I think about as I was growing up, I always used to hear people say, "Oh man, you look just like your dad." So, you know, and the makeup of my DNA versus my DNA as far as looking like my dad is, for me, I say is different. I remember when I went to my dad's memorial service, and it was weird because um, you know trying to mend a relationship that was broken because of trust and trying to mend that again um, was hard because I didn't what I wanted and what I thought was going to happen did not happen. And so I'll just take a minute to just put this plug in there. If you have a father that's still alive, I always hear, my father didn't do right by me. Mine didn't either. He didn't do right by my brother and I. But at the end of the day, you only get one father, you only get one mother. And sometimes we have to put pride aside, we have to put ego aside, and we have to say, hey, I need to be able to talk to my dad because it's a longing impact when your dad is not there. A lot of people feel like, hey, I don't need my dad in my life, but we all do. I remember Bishop TJ said this a long time ago in one of his messages, is that you can get so old, but you will always still need your father. You can be 30 years old and still some part of you will want to be around your father because the impact or the DNA made up of him still resides in you some kind of way. And so in some kind of way, you still have to be able to say, though I didn't take after him and I didn't follow the same path as him as far as if he went to jail or he did drugs, I didn't follow that path. I learned from that, but there's still some makeup of me in him. And I still got to understand that at the end of the day, that's my father. So, when y'all talk about DNA, one of the other things that y'all talked about was statistics. And so I want to talk about that because, there's statistics. Father's Day is coming up, and everybody say it's the least celebrated because people don't really get a recognition because there's more, as they say, there are lesser fathers in a home than there are mothers. So Mother's Day is like Christmas. It's one of the biggest, holidays that people celebrate. When it's Father's Day, people act like it's just another day. I mean, I seen the turn in it as it relates to celebrating it, but it's nothing like Mother's Day. I mean, it's nothing like Mother's Day. But the understanding is that we have to give our flowers to those who raised us or who had an impact. And so when I use that word impact, I want to take it a step farther. The impact that a person has can be one of two things: that they're in your life and they make an impact because you're watching them and they make an impact on your life. Two, they make an impact on your life because you're doing the opposite of what they did because you don't want to be what they turned out to be. So in any kind of way, they're making an impact on your life because you're looking at yourself and you're saying, I don't want to be that way. So the impact that they made in my life is for me to look at it in a different way. And so you have to be able to say at some point they made an impact in my life because I don't want to be the same way that my father was. But at the same time, if your father was in your life, I want to model after him, not try to be the same, but model after him because of what he did and what he inspired, me to do or you to do while you were, growing up? So when we talk about statistics, why is it? I want to ask this to you all. Why is it so hard, or why is it? Um, how I'm trying to ask is that when it comes to Father's Day, when it comes to celebrating fathers, why is that always seems to be one of the least celebrated holidays, and how can that turn around? You all thoughts on that?
I know I want to kind of go back to what you mentioned earlier, if I don't mind, about even didn't have that dad, like they had that impact. I probably haven't talked to him like my dad since Christmas, but I guarantee if he were to call me, I'll pick the phone up and feel like, because that's still my dad. Like even my grandpa, when he was alive, he knew it was like one of those off and ons. And he'll just ask me, "Did you talk to your dad?" I was like, "No." It was like, "Call him because that's still your dad." So when you said that, that just took me back to moments of what my grandpa mentioned to me plenty of times. And like the hard part about that was or is, it'd be those moments where you call and cool and then it kind of fade off. So it's kind of like you get tired of it. But still, if he were to call, I'll pick it. I just won't sit there and look at the phone. But just wanted to throw that in there from that thought. But as far as like for me, I'm an easy, chill person. So I don't know if it's like to where like I could just chill at the house and be happy with watching a movie with the boys, and I will still have a cool Father's Day. Like I don't have to go out and do all the festivities. Just as long as I feel appreciated, I'm good. Like it won't be the end of the world for me. I don't need to have gifts here, gifts there. We don't have to go to a restaurant. We can order food, sit in the house, and I'm cool with that. But I know everybody's different. Um, and like thinking too, Mother's Day, the kids, they always bring them gifts that they make at school. But when Father's Day comes, like, where my gift at? I don't get nothing. So it's different for everyone. And I know my uncle talked about this topic a lot. Um, but just knowing that, we definitely should feel appreciated and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, it's so interesting that with this topic came up. I like this because Sunday I got up and I said, "Man, next Sunday is Father's Day." I heard like 2-3 claps. Now this is a room of 2 people, and I said, "Hold up, now we ain't doing that." I said, "Cause when I said Mother's Day, when we had Mother's Day last week, y'all was going hype last month, bro. I don't want none of that." So I was like, "Y'all better go crazy for the fathers." And then they clapped again. But why? That's a question. Why does it have to happen? Why do we have to hype it up? And I know I'll speak to my demographic. I feel like my demographic, like I said, I see a lot of fatherlessness in this city. So I know a lot of them is like, when you talk about father, I don't have a father that I would look to where that is a joyful place. A lot of mothers, they are in the household, they are showing up, they are there. And not only there, they're usually that safe place or that comfort place. So when people think of mothers, they think of safety. They think of joy. Oh, she cooks for me and all that. What can I do for her? Sometimes I feel like men or fathers, they're of course pouring, but sometimes it's not seen or felt as much for a child. Or in their life, it's so interesting. Um, I think my wife always keeps this in me, so she makes sure I know, as much as you're providing and stuff, kids only remember the moments you were there. Like they don't remember that you paid for the food that they ate, or you had to work the second job or the 3, 4. They don't feel that. but they feel your presence, you in there. And sometimes I feel like mothers probably their presence are felt more. They have more of that love, mama, all that stuff. When dads read more, and that may not always be the case. That may not be in every scenario, but I think that paired with a lot of fathers, sometimes that can maybe um, speak to the celebration of it. And yeah, for me, actually a very low key guy when it comes to celebration. Like I said, my birthday this Saturday. They ask me, "What you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." I'm like, "Send me some money." My Cash App, guys, TWCII. Remember, TWCII. My birthday Saturday. Y'all could. Father and me. Anyway, but yeah, I think maybe that's why it's not celebrated as much. I don't. That's the only thing I could think of. Yeah.
Okay. Um. All right. So when we look at fatherhood, all right, and like I said earlier, this is Men's Mental Health Month, and both of you all know, mental health is real dear to me, and I'm an advocate for it. Um, as we, come into Father's Day weekend and we talk about mental health, how can men start to one turn the wheel on making an impact in a child's life? And one thing that I've learned, I had this conversation with somebody, because and I don't talk about this a lot, but I've always wanted kids. I've always wanted kids. Just hasn't happened. But I said to myself, I said, man, I still want to adopt. I still want to make an impact in the world. I still want to be able to show somebody that there are good men, there are good fathers that can have an impact on you, and just show the world that, hey, there are still good men in the world. Um, but as we come up, like I said, on the weekend for Father's Day, and we talk about mental health, why is it so important um, when we speak on mental health when it relates to men? Um, is my first question, and then my second question is, how can we turn the table to where um, it's not a taboo of men not wanting to talk about mental health, but versus, actually understanding that it's okay to talk about mental health and your problems. Not to everyone, but to talk about it and deal with whatever you're going through.
I know for me, talking is not. I sometimes hold a lot of stuff in, so I'm trying to get better at stuff like that. Um, just things that I'm used to. Just instead of expressing myself, I always have like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Versus actually looking for help and talking through it, whether it is about myself or to my wife or whoever, whatever. Um, so I know that's a not a strong suit for me, I would say. Um, but my uncle, he holds like a monthly men's uh, ministry talk, and we just talk it out. This made me think of I don't know if y'all watched The Shy, how they just the men just come and just let it all out, safe circle, stuff like that. Um, which I know it's helpful because everybody goes through the same thing and just kind of hearing it from someone else in different perspectives. Um, so like I said, for me, I'm still growing into getting better at that and trying to be more vocal instead of just holding it in, and once everything and explode and it's a whole another me.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that that's really what I was thinking. I said a lot of men, it's important for them to have mental health because if they don't, go seek that counsel and don't get healthy in ways, then it's gonna come out sideways. Like it usually does, and then or it comes out in an unhealthy way, unhealthy habit, some type of way, and then we are so impactful by our presence as men, especially as fathers. So our mood, and like I said, going back to DNA, we talked about whatever we're giving out, that's what they're picking up and receiving. So if we're unhealthy and we're not addressing that, sometimes we're spewing that out without really understanding that that's what we're giving out. And one thing that I had to, man, it's tough because sometimes you are in this whole thing that I'll figure it out. It's not that serious, but our health is so important. And sometimes I get in that vein too, because it's like, so I feel you, and that's 100%. Where you just like, oh, I'll figure this out, it'll be fine. But then sometimes it's just overwhelming, and then I start seeing it's affecting performance in life. I'm more attitudinous, like I'm more snappy and stuff. It's because I didn't take a moment to really do a mental health check. And then some people, is even worse than that. So of course, some of us we may crash out or something like that. But for some people, it goes to a place of depression, which can lead to a slew of other things. So I really think men, it's imperative that you really seek help. If you and let me hear me when I say this too. Help is not always I gotta go to a mental institution or whatever. Help sometimes is like I need a band of brothers to get on me or pouring into me. That I have a space that I can actually go to. Like what's the like what that could be your help a lot of times. And sometimes men like we've been saying is we hold it to ourselves. I now call my brothers like, man, I don't know financially how I'm about to do this. That's playing on me. And then I have this that's going on. And then maybe my marriage, I gotta fix this, that. And then my kids, something with my kid had. I was like, I'm trying to do all these moving pieces, and sometimes that can be overwhelming. And then one of those things gonna feel it in your life. They're gonna see it. It's gonna come out. So that's why I think it's just so imperative that you get your healing so that way it doesn't bleed on others. And you may not even know how it's coming out. So yeah, you got to get healed, bro.
End up turning on the kids. They can do just something so small, and you want to get the belt and get on them and stuff. Like, I just gotta take a chill. Like, it ain't that serious, bro. Like, you ain't have to keep yourself.
So, TC, you said something. You brought up something that I think is something that a lot of men deal with, and that's being able to come into a space and feel comfortable in that space.
Yeah.
And I think that that's hard for us as men, to be able to come into a space and say, I'm going to tell you something. I don't want you to look at me and judge me based upon what I'm about to tell you. If you look and I'm saying is like the person is thinking in their mind all this, but they're saying it in their mind, and they're saying, if this person judges me, it's going to make me put up a wall to where I'm not going to be able to talk to anybody else, and I'm just going to close off and not tell anybody what's going on with me, because now I can't trust you. Now I feel like I'm being judged. Now I feel like because I'm a man, I have to be a certain way. I have to be able to um, not cry about certain things, not show my emotions, not talk about my emotions, because that is the expectation. That is, the neighborhood I was raised in. So my overall state of mind is I'm worried about what every other person is going to think of me versus thinking about how much um how much relief being able to talk to somebody can be, the therapy behind it. You're not even realizing that just being able to release something that you have been dealing with and struggling with, you never know, the person around you can be someone that God sent to be able to be that comfort for you. And so sometimes we get in this mode of understanding that I'm a man, so I can't I can't express myself or show my feelings to anyone. But again, when it comes to mental health, that's when your mental health starts playing with you, because we start to um, get into this mode of I don't want to tell nobody anything. But you have to speak up. You have to tell someone, "Hey, man, I'm going through," and have that space. And I feel like we all need that space. It doesn't have to be 10 brothers. It could be one or two. But someone to be there to be able to say, "Man, I got you. Whenever you're going through something, I got you." Like I never want you to go through this alone. Um and that's something that I always think about when I'm talking to someone. I'm like, man, like I I probably can't sympathize with you, but I can empathize with you. Our vice versa. But I always want to be there in that moment. And so let's talk about being in a space, because I mean you could be in a space, and it's so ironic, and I want both of y'all to talk about this, because I know Demario, you're a Cowboys fan, and I know TC, you're a Browns fan. Um, Unfortunately, um,
It is unfortunate, man.
so
I rock with Shador, so I'm part of the Browns. I wouldn't mind being a Browns.
Man, our ownership's so stupid. I don't know, even they probably gonna cut Shador on these. Don't even get me into it, bro. We're not,
yeah, I don't that's probably for another show.
Lord have mercy.
But
Yeah.
but I will say this: it's easier for men to talk about sports. It's harder for men to talk about their emotions. It's easy for a man to invite someone over to watch the game. It's hard to invite someone over to talk about what's going on with them. And when you give someone a space to be able to say, "This is a safe space," and understand that meaning of safe space, that whatever you tell me is between us. I'm not going to use it to my advantage. I'm not going to use it or take advantage of this delicate, sensitive information that you give me, because it can jeopardize or reconfigure um, the future for you. Meaning that if I were to say something, what impact that will have going forward when it comes to talking to any type of men. So when we talk about space, what does that look like for you all when it comes to that, and how have you all had to, or how have you been able to come into a space with someone to be able to talk about what's going on with you?
I know part of it's like the generational curse, because growing up, something happened, man up, you'll be all right. Like, not to really fully express yourself. So it's just something that I know people might be comfortable with, and that's what they're used to. Um, with my boys now, especially my oldest one, I try to allow him to express himself, especially playing baseball, because you can see like his emotions, whether he mess up and stuff like that, or something that happened at school. Like, let's talk about it. Like, what happened? Like, stuff like that. Um, but I know, because I have a few people that I can reach out to, a couple family members, and you're one of them, Kev, that I can, call if something, and just, hey, a couple times I started crying because it was emotional, because it was hard for me to say, because I'm not used to expressing myself. So there's still maybe, knowing that I do have those people that I can reach out to and be in that safe space, it's still sometimes even hard to do. Um, Thinking about doing it, trying to call and say, hey, I just need to talk to you real quick, or you got a minute, or hey, can we go somewhere and just chill? So I know it's part of that feeling comfortable because that's what you used to, but stepping out to, you know, that learning experience that it could be for most people, and that's definitely something for me. So
Yeah, for me, I do have close. Well, one right now, we're a close friend. That's like an accountability partner. Um, that's really my safe place that I really can tell anything to. How did we got there over time? This person was in Okinawa named John Miller, um, but he's. I mean, it's been over time. I've known him over 20. Been 20 years yet? No, not 20. But at least 15 years. Um, so I think this year over year, seeing how he leads his family, how he just the man he is, and just seeing how he loves people, and knowing that it's not going to be that judgment, and it is a safe place. I think so many guys, not a lot, but I think sometimes are in that competition mode, and feel like you got to compete. When you find somebody who's safe and you never feel like nobody's trying to compete with each other, we're truly just loving on one another, man, and building one another. And then you see how I see how you do with your family, how you treat my kids. So when you go to that, and then you reveal something, and you see I used to be there, and then they reveal their. That's how you just start building, man. And so me and him built that relationship. So now we have that safe space for my kids. Man, it's hard sometimes because I try to create those safe spaces, but then as well, you do have to correct and discipline. So you try to find that healthy balance for me. I make sure I give my kids that I want you to be able to come to me when you make a mistake and not feel like I'm going to get just in trouble for this. So sometimes I'm always trying to find that balance of hearing their heart on the why, and not being reactionary. In that age now that they know it's going to be a conversation, that this is a safe place to bring that to. So when those conversations do start, and even bringing some conversations to them early, and getting ahead of it, that they know, man, my dad trusted me with something early, and the other kids didn't know about this. So let me trust with this is going on. I know that's the place that I can. The first place I heard about sex wasn't from my friends; it was from my dad. Like I knew about it. He told me the real. So my friends weren't this cool place. I this. So I want to create this safe space so my kids already start coming to me, and bringing stuff to me, um, while keeping that firm sometimes. But yeah, man, that's my space, and that's how I kind of try to do it for my kids.
Okay. Um, so I heard the word balance. So I wanna talk about that for a minute. How do you all and I can't wait to hear both of you all's answers because both of you all are married. Um, how do you balance life with your wife, balance life with your kids, and balance life without them and with your personal goals and everything else with your friends. Because I know, it's one of those things of, a single person like me, I don't have to be like, hey, you know, I'm going out with the fellas. We got anything planned? I could just go. But with y'all gotta, hey, I'm going out. And then it's one of those things of it's a check in or however you want to look at it. But how do you all balance that? Because it can be a lot, and I know for UTC being a pastor, having a first lady, and being able to balance that on top of everything else that you do. How do you balance that? And Demario, how do you balance? Because I've seen your kids as well. Um, and just understanding um balance, understanding that word balance, that you have to have it, but how do you find it, and how do you all think that you found it? Are are you still working on it?
I know I'm still working on it. I am definitely still working on it. Because for myself, it definitely isn't easy. I'll say that. Um, only because I don't have the typical 9 to 5, hour work, go in the office, come home. Um, I'm trying to learn how to balance it for what I do, knowing that I have a career that I can set my own schedule. Um, I never really had like that structured mind of growing how, the military mindset, like, that structure. So it's not saying that it's all over the place. It's just me now figuring out how to do it, especially with my son playing baseball. Like he had a, 2 games this morning, had to be there at 6 o'clock. Over the weekend, had 2 games at 8 o'clock in Waxahachie. That's over an hour drive. Um, at the same time, still trying to figure out how to run my business, find my clients, how to make calls. On top of that, how to be a husband, how to try to spend time with my wife, knowing that she works, her hours. So when she gets off, I figure out if I can go and try to study for an exam. So I'm still a work in progress of trying to figure that balance out, because this period of my career is like the grind period that I'm building myself up to have more time to where I can actually spend whatever hours with my wife, with the boys, to go to his baseball games, to his practice, to train him, whether it's specifically for baseball, basketball, things like that. So it's just that grind mode that I'm trying to figure out how to balance this work, but get to that point where I can have more time with everybody, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. It makes complete sense. I know exactly what you mean. And one thing I found out, I've been in the season where you're in, where I'm trying to find balance and trying to give, especially to my family. My family's the most important thing, so I got to value that. And I got work. And I found now that balance in my life doesn't exist. And I heard somebody say this. I don't remember who. I want to find it because I've told a lot of people this at this point. Is I don't try to find balance. I'm in different flows and seasons. So it's sometimes. I'll take an example. We actually launched our campus in April 20th. So leading up to launching our campus, we had a lot of stuff that we had to do. And we have 4 kids. And when I talk about a lot of stuff, it's like we have to build a team that's going to be helping us do this. I'm making calls around the clock. And then, of course, even making calls, you're still pastoring that. They're calling you at all times of night because it is an emergency for some of them. So it's like, this is what you signed up for. This is what you said yes to God. So it's like, okay, I'm in this season. I'm building this. And it's like, I don't have that much time at home. I'm literally working 12, 16 hours a day. And then I'm like, okay. And my wife at some point is like, is this what this is going to look like? Like, are you about to tell me this is what it's like? I'm almost like a single parent right now. Like, what is it's like, seriously, it's like I got 4 kids and I'm myself. Is this what pastoring going to look like? And then somebody helped me in that season when I was really trying to do all the different things. And it says, you have to have a flow right now and understand that there's going to be some seasons, yeah, you're going to have to give more here. That doesn't mean your family's not important in this season. That means this is a season, baby, you got to understand for this next 6 weeks to 2 months or whatever, I'm going to have to grind so we can get this in a place that I can sustain it and then it can be healthy. Then I can come back. Now that's not my reality anymore. Now I'm getting off more at 5, 6. Yeah, I'm still gonna get phone calls from people I got important to. And sometimes you gotta put the phone down. I had to set those boundaries. But there's a flow that I'm looking for. And I'm looking for, okay, yes, I'm grinding, but am I still pouring into my wife enough that she understands what's going on right now? And then there will be an expiration date. But then as well, you're my helpmate in this, so help me in this and understand the vision. So that's why, man. This I'm in right now, bro. It's interesting because I'm still in kind of build mode, but I'm getting smarter now in saying, okay, I'm building. I know I got to be at the church. I'm bringing my family home more. So instead of me always being gone, then I'm bringing them into my world. Because I know this has to be done, but how can it just be done with that flow? So like I said, it's not always going to be balanced. I had to figure out, okay, I got work. Can I bring my 4 kids to this? Okay, maybe the older 2 can come to this. And I'm involving them. Now my kids don't feel like I'm not there. Now my wife feel like now I got 4 kids running around. Now you only got 2 kids. That's a little bit more chill, and my presence is felt more now. So now that's what I'm looking for, and I encourage a lot more people to say, find your flow in your life that kind of starts for you, because balance sometimes I feel like sometimes it's not achievable. You're always going to be a different season, so and you're always going to be moving. So especially it sounds like you're a business owner too. Like you got a lot, bro. So it sounds like you're gonna be built. It's gonna be a lot of seasons you're building, and then with 3 kids, but you do have a teenager. That teenager, you get up in, you're gonna be hey.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like even in school, well, when school was in, starting being an agent, trying to build your business. The times that he's in school, kids not in daycare, so I'm at home with them all day. But at the same time, I need to figure out how to make calls, how to prospect clients, how to study for this test, how to see if I can go to this meeting that's on computer, because I know I can't go to the office and go to those meetings and go to those trainings and things like that. So, but once he's back home, okay, now he's home, he can watch them. Let me go figure it out. So, like finding that time and trying to tweak stuff around to balance out. And then, of course, wife comes home. Now I have to try to balance to get quality time with her and stuff like that. So it's still in that building stage. I can say it's gotten a little bit better, but I know at one point I want to definitely build it to where I know I can work 3 days out the week, still being able to pay bills and do whatever and not have to stress about the financial aspect. And then I can spend 4 days with the kids and stuff, because that's like my vision of what I can do. But this is that grind period. I love y'all, but this is what I need to do in order to where we can do more later down, down the line in life.
Yeah, I tell everybody, and this is what I did. Is I wrote it down too. I did, especially me and my wife. We sat down, but even if you're an individual and you're not married, if you're watching this, as a man, when you're trying to find balance and flow, set your priority first. What are we trying to accomplish in this season? Whether it's business, whether it's we're focusing more around marriage. There have been seasons we're like, all right, no, we gotta get this fire back going right now. This is our main focus. And so the other things I'm cutting off in this season, finding that flow. So right now, or are you, so there's a lot of those. I love that. And even right now, like I'm finding that balance, our flow. But it is a beautiful thing, I think, unlocking that and seeing the things that work. And then it's like, I love just keep tinkering with things, and you'll get that flow for sure. I think it's gonna be great.
All right, so I want to do this with you all. I think this is going to be interesting. But before I do this, um, So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna ask y'all 10 questions. Just want y'all to answer them. First thing to come to your mind when I ask them. But before we do that, um, if you could go back to your 16-year-old self, what would you tell your 16-year-old self not to do and what to do to change anything differently? Would you change anything differently? But to go back to your 16-year-old self and tell yourself what to do or not to do.
My 16-year-old self, I would tell them, finish college immediately. And I still have don't have my degree yet, and I'm still going to get it. But when I was in high school, when I was graduating high school, my dad was literally paying everything for my degree. I just wasn't focused. I was trying to make money. I was working. Then wife kicking in, stuff like that. It just wasn't focused at all. And I truly believe that I have missed opportunities for that. You talk about impact of fathers and stuff. He never lets me forget that, Lord. He always brings up the degree. Like, I was paying for that. So for me, I would tell my 16-year-old self, finish your degree ASAP. Anything I would tell him not to do, I guess I don't know. It's interesting. I would maybe say two things. First thing is just save all your money. nothing you have right now. Think of your future. I'm not focused on my future. If you're a 16-year-old right now, think, what is the plan for your future? Like, who you want to be, and is the money you're spending on whatever you're spending it on? Is it going towards that? And the second thing I would tell them is actually keep myself sexually. Like, don't, because I got to a place where it was just like, yeah, we going. I would want that thing to be to where truly when your wife, you come in and it's a beautiful thing to me. So those are the two things I would tell myself, man, because that got me in some trouble too in the church. I think you was there. Were you, Kevin? Were you there for some of that? When I got set down and all that, you wasn't there for that. Okay, so never mind. We can talk later about it.
Okay.
That was bad.
Okay. Amen.
Yeah, you know some. Yeah, we'll talk.
Amen. Amen. All right. Mario.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm still trying to think. Actually, I got the what not to do. I'm trying to think for what to do. I'll say what to do is just kind of be better. Actually, no, I don't want to do that one. I know for sure one thing not to do, being in Las Vegas, I would say to move out of there faster and be smarter with my money, because
the money, man.
That casino, Vegas, it will get you. It will get you in trouble. So definitely, even though I went to college and wasn't there for some years, but moved back, just staying out of that area. So I would definitely have moved away from there if I had that opportunity to do so.
All right, Roger that. So I want to play this quick, fun game, and I want y'all just to answer, and then we'll go through them. All right, and y'all could just answer, one of y'all answer and the other answer. All right, favorite sport?
Football.
Basketball.
All right, your current role model?
My dad.
My uncle, since he's still here. My grandpa was, but my uncle now.
All right. Your kids, if I were to ask your kids, do you think that they would say that they are a daddy's boy, a daddy's girl? What would they say?
I'll let you, because you got 4, so I'll let you go first, and I'll tell you.
I would say maybe 2 of them are. One of them is not neither of us. She's a grandmother's girl. Like, she's all about my mother.
Well, I can understand that. Everybody loves Lady D. So.
Like, Lord have mercy. Yeah, she loves her. So and then my other one. So I think I got maybe 1 or 2, and Allison maybe got 1. Yeah.
So I know my oldest, he's a mix of both. The middle one, 98% mama's boy. And the youngest one, probably 98% daddy's boy.
Okay. All right. Favorite food?
Sushi.
Man. Come on, man. Don't worry. Coco curry, man. I can't.
Man.
As soon as I see you, I was just like, man, I literally thought I need to order some more packages. I haven't had none in a minute. We're not gonna talk about it.
We're not gonna talk about it. All right. What is the one thing that you're looking forward to for Father's Day?
Mm. I guess seriously, actually enjoying it with kids. I know they're probably celebrating me for sure. And then just speaking into my father's life too, and what he means to me and for the family. So those are my things.
Yeah, I'll just say quality time with the family.
Mm.
Okay. What's been the roughest or hardest day thus far in your life? I know that's probably hard to answer, but just give me one day.
A specific day or a period?
Just period. Up to this point in your life.
Me personally, financial reasons with work. So that's a struggle that I've had as far as knowing that I'm in a commission only job and going through those periods where not getting commission. So I'll say yes.
Yeah, mine kind of similar. When we kind of first left, and it's one of the times, but when we first left Texas to come to Ohio, because Allison was in the military 15 years, and we feel like God called us to come out here. But then she got pregnant soon after, so she had actually a job lined up here. So then we went to one income. And so then we got 4 kids. So I was like, okay, this is God, what you doing? Because we were good over there. We were making good money. And now it's like we can barely make it over here. So it was a tough season because then I'm questioning God, all the things, um, and not knowing where I would be now and what He's doing. It's like you just gotta trust Him. So that was one of the most trying times, and it still is because yeah, me had a lot of. I was in it with him. So that was hard. That was a hard time for sure.
Okay. Best vacation you've had thus far.
Mm, that's vacation.
I'm just go ahead and say Mexico trip took when I worked with Delta. I was able to fly anywhere for free. So that was our after Christmas period with the baby wasn't born yet, but still had the second one, the first oldest one, but just kind of going to Mexico. A little time away. It was pretty fun, I would say.
Okay.
Mm, yeah, my favorite one probably was our honeymoon. Yeah, for sure. We went to Australia, like my dream, because I love animals. So I always wanted to go to Australia just for animals and stuff. But that was me and my wife, just getting married. That was that was a dream. So yeah, that's still my favorite vacation to date.
Okay. And last one. Favorite pastime.
Um, probably video games. Video games or basketball. Those are my two favorite. Yeah.
Playing in the street, tossing the football with no cars coming. That street light come on, gotta go to the house. As long as really just anywhere my grandparents' house. That's probably where I grew up. So street lights, football in the middle of the street, riding bikes. That was definitely some good times.
Gotcha. Okay. So, fellas, I appreciate you all. Appreciate this conversation. I definitely hope that as this conversation is shared and talked about for days to come, that people watch it and get a glimpse and an understanding what it means to be a father, and what you all go through. Just a glimpse of you two and what you go through. It's not all glamorous like some people think. It is responsibility. It is putting in the work. When it comes to being the head of the household and being the one that everybody's looking to in their time of need. So, with that, I'm going to give you all your final thoughts. Um, TC, I'm gonna pull you backstage, and then I'm gonna have Demario give his final thoughts, and then we will go from there. Demario, final thoughts. And you can anything that you want to talk about when it relates to what it means to be a father?
Good question. So, I definitely enjoy being a father to my three boys. Um, walking in the house, the two youngest ones will be on the couch. As soon as that door open, daddy, daddy. So those moments are definitely the most precious moments that I definitely enjoy. Um, be moments where it may seem like I'm not enjoying it, but on the inside, those are great moments. Same with my oldest son with baseball. He'll look at me and ask me how he did. So being a father is, I know I'm in a wonderful, the greatest fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, but that fatherhood fraternity is definitely one of the best ones as well. So, but I appreciate my brother for allowing me this opportunity to be here and kind of just talk it out and, just talk about being a father and everything. And, I'm going to throw this in there. If you need life insurance, retirement planning, or anything like that, I am affiliated with New York Life. Reach out to me, protect the family, business, all that good stuff. So, but once again, I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I knew you was gonna throw that in there. It's cool. It's cool. All right, I'm gonna bring TC up. Appreciate you,
Bam, bam.
TC. Final thoughts, sir.
Final thoughts. Fathers, all of us are needed, man. The impact that my dad has on my life is great. He has really shaped me to be who I am, and I'm just grateful to him on a high level. I'm praying to God that I have that same impact and that the fathers are here knowing that you have the opportunity to have that same impact. And as much as we go through, as much as we feel the pressure, we're needed. Just like the Mario was saying, it's like my whole thing too is I love seeing my kids succeed, and I get joy from seeing their successes. I mean, my son, the other day when he graduated from going from just third grade to the fourth grade, just seeing the joy and just seeing him mature. That's the things that just give me life, and it makes me come alive. Fathers, man, be a part of kids' life. They need you. They need you to shape them, to guide them, and it's just a joy. Like you said, the greatest joy that you could ever have. So, man, and again, thank you, Kevin, for having me be a part of this, bro. Love you, man. And you've already poured into a lot of guys as well, too. So, as much as you said that you've always wanted kids, you've also reared a lot of people, man. So, love you, man.
Hey, I appreciate that, TC. Before we get out of here, one of the things I want to say is these are two young brothers. TC, I've known. We was talking about it a bit before the show started. I've known TC since he was a sophomore in high school when we met in Okinawa, Japan, when I was still in the military. And we have so many stories, just so many good times of just being around and just seeing him grow as a young man to a man to where he's at now. I'm proud of you, TC, to see you grow to where you're at now. And to my line brother, Demario, man, it's all love. I love you, brother. And I appreciate both of you all. Appreciate you, Demario, just for your openings. I know you are very you and TC are totally opposite because TC will talk to anybody and he don't care, and he will joke with anybody and he don't care. You are more reserved and you're quiet, so
He like to wait.
right. So I think this, being able to just open up and talk about and be vulnerable in a space like this
Yeah.
will help somebody else who definitely will probably watch this and say, man, if he can do it, I can do it. So you never know the impact that you just might make on just one person. So I appreciate both of you all. Until next time, until we meet next time, until the next show. I'm looking forward to another conversation with some more guests. So definitely tune in next Tuesday. Same channel, same time, 7 p.m. East. I'm sorry, I'm about to say Eastern. 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And definitely look forward to another conversation with some dynamic guests. Until then, you all have a great night, and I'll talk to you later.